Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered some really tragic remarks that again reveal what is happening. Who is the impediment to peace? Putin. And how Trump is just aligning himself so terribly and disastrously with the impediment to peace while he says it's in the name of peace. Okay, before I show you these remarks, I want you to remember what happened in the Oval Office, one part of it, with Zelensky and Trump, because Trump gets asked about a potential ceasefire. And this ceasefire question kind of sparked the whole spiral, because Zelensky was saying, I want lasting peace, and if that comes in the form of a temporary ceasefire to start off with, fine, but I need security guarantees, and we need to come up with a way to guarantee Putin won't invade further, which is going to come in the form of European, at least, backed security guarantees, maybe even presence of European military force on that border in Ukraine. And then to Vance, that was so disrespectful, you're being so mean to us, but he wasn't. Okay, you remember all that. But the reporter asks, what if you make a ceasefire agreement, which requires Ukrainian concessions, so now they're weaker in their defense of themselves, but Putin just violates the ceasefire like he's done with agreements in the past. And Trump just started shouting about the bathroom of Hunter Biden and how a bomb could drop on your head at any moment, as if to say that's a ridiculous question. Okay, then we're going to move forward. I'll update you. I'll remind you of what happened on the call with Trump and Putin, and then get to Zelensky's remarks. Here we go. If you appreciate these updates, please do click the subscribe button. Here's the reminder.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
Well, what if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect...
Okay, so breaking a ceasefire means that there's no respect. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Obama, they respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia.
Came out of Hunter Biden's sink faucet. Came out of Hunter Biden's... It made no sense. What are you saying? Let's listen a little further. And then all this is going to be made so much more clearly absurd in a moment.
The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal.
All right. So then, as I already told you, Trump gets on the phone with Putin. And Trump is saying Putin wants peace. We've looked at not hundreds, but looked at dozens of clips of Trump saying that Putin really does want peace. And then on the phone, Trump fails to get Putin to agree to a temporary ceasefire that Ukraine agreed to with no conditions. Just, yes, we will. We'll stop. Yes. For 30 days to discuss a more lasting agreement for peace. And so Trump can't get what he said would be so doable, which is an actual 30-day full ceasefire. But he says it was a big win because we got Putin to agree and commit, and this was the readout from the White House, to commit to ceasing attacks on energy infrastructure and certain civilian infrastructure. And then the heartbreaking, tragic, and yes, just ruining of the Trump narrative here is that immediately Putin did this, what Zelensky announces in this video.
Навіть цієї ночі після розмови Путіна з президентом Сполучених Штатів Америки Дональдом Трампом, коли Путін сказав, що він нібито віддає наказ припинити удари по українській енергетиці, було за ніч 150 дронів, в тому числі по об'єктах енергетики. Удари були по транспорту, удари були...
As always, I'll translate this for our podcast listeners after.
Вражено було, на жаль, 2 лікарні по звичайній міській інфраструктурі. Тобто слова Путіна дуже розходяться з реальністю. Саме тому потрібна оборонна підтримка, потрібна підтримка нашої протиповітряної оборони, потрібен тиск на Росію заради безпеки і порядку.
All right, so quickly let me read. Last night after Putin's conversation with the president of the US, Donald Trump, when Putin said he was allegedly giving the order to stop the strikes on the Ukrainian energy sector, 150 drones were launched by Russians overnight, including those targeting energy infrastructure. There were strikes on transportation. Unfortunately, 2 hospitals were hit. Ordinary urban infrastructure. Putin's words are very much at odds with reality. That is why we need defense support. We need support for our air defense. We need pressure on Russia for the sake of security and saving lives. Exactly right. What they keep saying is, no, we don't, we'll just get Putin's word. We just watched play out in a deadly fashion. We just watched play out why his word is not enough. Because you just got his word on the call, supposedly, or you were lying about that, but that's supposedly what you got. And immediately, that day and into the night, he attacked the very things that he told you he wasn't going to. So tell me again, MAGA, say it again. Assert again that it's Zelensky holding up peace here. Try to make that argument once again, please. I'd love to hear it. Zelensky also posted, right now in many regions, you can literally hear what Russia truly needs. Around 40 drones are in our skies and air defense is active. Unfortunately, there have been hits specifically on civilian infrastructure. And he goes through more specifics. But this is the quality of Putin's word. Putin effectively rejected, he writes, a full ceasefire. It would be right for the world to respond by rejecting any attempts by Putin to prolong the war. Sanctions against Russia, assistance to Ukraine, strengthening allies in the free world, and working towards security guarantees, and only a real cessation of strikes on civilian infrastructure by Russia as proof of its willingness to end the war can bring peace closer. And he attaches one of the strikes that was mentioned, a photo of what took place there. So at this point in time, any words, any just, oh yeah, I'll do this, as long as Ukraine does this. One of the reported demands from Putin was the cessation of any support to Ukraine. And so what he's hoping is that he can say to Trump, yeah, I'll, what you want that? I'll not strike certain civilian things. Sure. And then Trump will go, awesome, we're going to cut off aid to Ukraine then as a trade-off. And then as Ukraine is weakened, more strikes happen, more troops charge forward. And that's what we're seeing. There's a full offensive advance right now going on by Russian troops. It's not the encirclement that Trump claimed, but there is a clear, visceral, physical rejection of peace by Russia over and over again. And the only way a lasting peace deal is going to come is if Putin sees, which the failures militarily that he's already experienced proves at some point he would have to come to the conclusion that he needs an out. Because even with MAGA's perception of big, amazing, perfect, great, strong, eternal Russia, even they, at some point, will have had enough of losing. Which is what we're seeing. Don't get that twisted. And the only way we're going to get to a lasting fair peace deal is for Putin to believe that Ukraine will never lose the support of its allies, right? If that's the belief, okay. But if he believes, wait, I just have to prolong this enough for the United States to drop off, enough for Trump to start making deals with me under the guise of, I don't even know, but whatever it is that Trump's doing now. And that's what that document that was prepared for the Kremlin that we reviewed, that Moscow think tank prepared about how to play Trump. Essentially, that's not the word they use, but the steps clearly resembled how Putin could play Trump, get him to believe he's the ally, Europeans, they're your enemy. And if you just align with us, maybe we can, go off into the sunset together. Meanwhile, the ultimate goals of the Kremlin in Ukraine, the dismantling of the Ukrainian people, government, and sovereignty continues. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you do want to support the show further than just a free subscription on YouTube, you can do so by clicking the join button below.